Are you dreaming of owning property in Belize? Don't let your dream turn into a nightmare. Make sure you watch this video before you purchase. Belize is a fantastic country to buy property, and in fact, I've bought a couple properties myself and helped many clients do the same. However, as with any real estate purchase or investment, it's important to proceed with caution. Unfortunately, there's been many instances where buyers were misled, turning what should have been a dream into a costly disappointment. One of those developments I'm going to talk about is Sanctuary Belize. It was basically marketed as a luxury development marketed to international buyers. According to the FTC, the project used high-pressure sales tactics and misleading claims about property values, infrastructure, and timelines. The buyers paid significant sums to find the promised amenities and infrastructure either incomplete or non-existent. Now, the other thing that happened, according to the FTC, is that lots were sold multiple times, which led to legal and financial nightmares. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is there's another development being marketed right now, December 2024, in Belize, that seems to be following some of the same strategies that Sanctuary Belize did. Not only that, there's people on Facebook reporting that some of the people from Sanctuary Belize are involved in this new development. I can't confirm this, so I'm not going to talk specifically about the development, but what I'm instead going to do is provide red flags that you can look at before you're considering purchasing in Belize. So, what's the first red flag? It's paid property tours. If you're required to pay for a tour to see a property, make sure you proceed with caution. This tactic is often used to create a sense of exclusivity while masking a lack of real progress. And the particular development I'm talking about, this is the only way in the past that you were able to see the property. You couldn't even bring a realtor there to see it. Now, that doesn't mean that every paid property tour is bad. I know a lot of them where they're not even doing high pressure sales tax at all, and they show you multiple developments. Things like Robert Helm's Belize Discovery Tour. I went on that when I first came to Belize, and it was a godsend for me. And that's how I learned a lot of the stuff that I talk about when I meet with clients today in Belize. Number 2. Limited or no contact information on the website of the developer. So if the developer avoids listing local phone numbers or detailed contact information, they could be hiding something. Transparency is crucial. If you're buying a property from someone, why would they be afraid to share emails and contact information so you could call to ask questions? Number 3, developers that are based abroad, so not in Belize or the country you're buying in. This isn't always an issue, but if a developer is located outside Belize, it can make harder to hold them accountable for delays or disputes. So number 4, restricted property access. If local realtors or agents can't independently show you the property, ask why. Restricted access is a serious red flag. Some of these developers only want you to see the property with them because they can have people on site, making it like things are happening when other days nothing is going on. Number 5 is conceptual marketing. So if they have flashy renderings and promotional materials without real progress photos, this often indicates a project that only exists in paper. The one development that I've seen some clients ask me about has a fantastic marketing package with a whole bunch of wording that you should be cautious of. It says will be and will have and all these kind of things, but the renderings make it look like something already exists. But if you go to the property and look at what it actually looks like, you will see a different story. The next thing you want to look at, number 6, is the track record of the developer. So if there's a lack of completed projects or positive reviews, this should raise serious concerns. Always research the developer thoroughly. And this means talking to people outside of the ones they give you as referrals. I have seen referrals from I would say people that bought, but maybe didn't have the full information yet, or perhaps they're paid by the developer to give a good review, or maybe they want to sell their property, so they don't want to say anything bad about it. You really don't know the motivation of people giving reviews unless you talk to people independent of the developer or even the realtor that you're dealing with. So getting reviews, the best way to do that, I recommend all my clients, is to come to Belize. If you're thinking of buying in a certain area, rent there for a bit first. Talk to the expats around and the locals, because a lot of the developments that are going on here, if you ask anyone here, hey, what about this particular development? They will all have tons of things to say that you might not hear unless you're on site. So don't expect the internet to give you the full amount of information. Now, starting to look at a few tips to help. The seventh thing you need to know about buying property in Belize is to hire a real estate lawyer. There's a lot of lawyers that we don't recommend at Keller Williams necessarily just because of a lack of experience, but we have a couple that we really like that we always refer our clients to use. So if a realtor is telling you not to use a lawyer, that's another red flag, because lawyers protect your interests versus the realtors. Now, some realtors have their own escrow accounts where they make the money from holding your cash. Again, that's something I would avoid. The eighth thing to consider when you're buying property is to make sure you visit in person. Now, I'm hoping many of you think, of course, I would always do that, but I can tell you that in Belize, that's not commonly the case. There are some developers that tell you that lots are selling out and you need to make a decision very quickly, even before your trip. I've even heard someone I know say that they were told to sign the contract, and if they came and didn't like the property, then the contract would be ripped up. Now, I'm not saying that wouldn't happen, but again, that is an example of something that doesn't make sense. If you don't see the property on your own, you may be misled. Now, one thing I can even give as an example is I had a client that saw a house listed for sale. The house itself looked really nice. It was a great price point in San Pedro. Well, I knew where the house was. So what I did is I went over to the property and did a video call with her to show her the surrounding street. And right away, it was an absolute no-go. That property, a couple of years later, is still for sale. If someone had bought that without being on site to see from someone that wasn't trying to sell the house, they might have purchased something that they really regretted. So always make sure you visit the property in person. Not only that, to go a little farther, is if you come see a property and it looks really nice, but you don't know what it's like to live there, if you're planning living there, I would say to stay on site as long as possible. I know many people that have bought in certain developments, moved to Belize, sold everything, and then didn't like it, have to sell their property and move back to the US. So that's something to also consider. Number 9. Make sure you research the developer. You want to look into their past projects and ask for references from previous buyers. In some cases, I have seen reviews from people where they've purchased something, but it was just right after their purchase. So the review is fantastic. But if you talk to someone a couple of years out where they've purchased, you might hear a completely different story, which of course you will not see online. So again, being in person actually will help you research, because you can ask questions of people that have went through the process of buying wherever it is you're considering. Finally, we're on to number 10, high pressure sales. This is one of my biggest pet peeves in Belize. There's so many people that'll tell you there's only 2 lots left or 3 lots when it's not at all the case. It might be that they only have 2 left in their brokerage that they have listed, might be only 2 in that phase of a development. Anything like that is really not a true statement. If there was an MLS, you would know this for sure. Unfortunately, in Belize, we don't have MLS. So what's going to happen is you need to be on site to truly see what's available in an area. For example, I will go through later on some properties in Seeker Beach to show you that if you were told there's only 3 lots left, that's not the case at all. Now, even if it was true that there was a short supply, there's often resales of many different properties in Belize. Now, for most of this video, I've been mentioning developers, but not only does this information apply to developers, it also refers to builders and realtors, because the same issues can happen in all cases. So if you find a lot you love and you buy it with someone that you really trust, you still have to find a builder. If you're looking to buy any kind of property and you're not sure which, you need to find a realtor. You need to consider all these same factors, because many realtors sell only their own listings. just like developers often only sell their own lots, which is what you'd expect. So in Belize, there's no MLS and there's no licensing of realtors. So that is something to be aware of when you're buying property here versus North America. If someone is selling their own property, because there's no rules, they do not even have to disclose that it's their own property or their own development. So you might think that it's really the best because that's what they're telling you, but if it's all that they're selling, then obviously that is a huge conflict. So I always recommend to people, if you're looking for property in Belize, make sure you find a buyer's agent, one that will sell listings from many different realtors. And if you're curious about whether the person you're meeting with does, find some alternative properties, send them to them and see if they'll set up viewings. If they won't, find out why. If it might be a huge red flag if they're saying, no, this is the only place you should buy property. If they say that, that means likely that's all they're selling. I want to do a demonstration now of some ways that a realtor here in Belize needs to look up property if they're truly representing a buyer. So right now I'm in Shore Key Realty, which is Keller Williams. This is Kate Corrigan's brokerage. I already have mentioned her in the past in videos because she is my favorite condo realtor in San Pedro, and she's a great friend of mine as well. Now, if I was looking for Secret Beach property, I would go into her website first, and here I've searched just for land specifically, and you can see here's some Secret Beach land. If you know what you're looking for, Palmyra Woods, 2 lots together for $90,000 US combined. And if I keep scrolling down here, I can see here's another lot in the Secret Beach area, $50,000 US. Here's another one for $85,000. And then there's other lots that she has available here too. This one's in Corozal, but you can see she has quite a few here in San Pedro that are available for sale. And that's only one brokerage. Now, what if I look at RE/MAX? I already have mentioned in the fact that you have to look at different realtors to find all the available property. But the first thing I want to show you here is RE/MAX Belize. This is their website. And here, this is Will Mitchell's main website really for RE/MAX because he owns RE/MAX for Belize. And you can see here, there's a link for Secret Beach and one for Mahogany Bay. Well, why are those the only 2 things here? Well, it's because Will's dad, Dave Mitchell, is the developer of Secret Beach and Mahogany Bay. Now, is this the only RE/MAX brokerage in San Pedro? Absolutely not. If I was looking for land at Secret Beach, of course I want to talk to them because they have all the new properties that haven't been sold yet and new subdivisions that open up. But I would also go and look at RE/MAX Island Real Estate. It's a great brokerage right across from the airport. And here's one of the listings I found on their website. It's a piece of land for $249,000 in the Secret Beach area. And it's basically, when you look at that price point, obviously it's going to be a bigger lot and it's going to be closer to the beach. So this one's 100 by 100, so way bigger than the standard size lot. Now, I've already looked at the RE/MAX for, in Mahogany Bay and the Secret Beach one, which is Will's. This one, RE/MAX Island. But is that it? Well, that's not even still it. So here's another RE/MAX agent. So this is Jason and John Turley's website. And if I look in their website, I see many different Secret Beach lots as well. Here's one for $120, another one for $250. Of course, they sell Mahogany Bay and anything else that they want to sell as well, or anyone who wants to list with them. And then every other brokerage is the same thing. So there's tons of RE/MAX brokerages in San Pedro. We have different agents with Keller Williams, but we only have one brokerage with Keller Williams and Belize. And then lots of smaller realtors that also have listings. So when people ask why commission is high in Belize, it is due to the amount of work required. All of these listings on these different websites have to actually be vetted. Some of them may be out of date. Now, when I'm looking at these properties, if I had a client wanting Secret Beach, for example, I would actually find this listing here on Kate's website and I would call her to make sure it's still available. Now, she's really good at updating her websites. Some people are better than others, but as a realtor in Belize, you need to know all of this. So what I recommend doing is getting a buyer's agent that can really give you the goods. Now, for me, what I do is if someone wants Secret Beach property, I don't really help them. I'll refer them to someone who's an expert in that area because I don't drive out there to see all the different real estate signs. So I don't know the area as well as some of my other colleagues in Keller Williams. Whereas if you wanted a property, say in other areas of San Pedro or Placencia, I am more than willing to help. But what I do is I always provide you with the person that I think can help you the best. Now I want to show you a development that does things, in my opinion, the right way. This is Nia Development. And the thing I love about Nia, not only did they win Hotel of the Year in Belize in 2023, but it is, in my opinion, the most beautiful neighborhood in Belize. It's located on the Placencia Peninsula, and that doesn't really matter for this presentation, but what I want to show you is this lot map. This lot map is online on their website, and at all times, they show the lots that are available for sale and what the price point is. And because I've sold many of these lots myself, I can tell you that it is updated pretty quickly. So I went into some sales centers in Placencia and they've had this map printed and it's not up to date. And I'm like, hey, you need to update this. I've sold these 3 lots and they're not marked in red yet. But if you want to know updated availability and pricing, you can always go on to NAIA's website and see what's available. Now, if every developer and reseller did this in Belize, it would be fantastic. But unfortunately, this is the only one that I found that does this. I hope this video has helped if you're considering buying property in Belize. Make sure you reach out if you have any questions or you want to check out Belize. Hope to see you soon.